While the footsteps of men first echoed in the lands of Beleriand, the white towers of the hidden city of Gondolin still enjoyed a peace secluded from the world, encircled by mountains. Yet not even the strongest walls could imprison a heart that yearned for freedom and adventure. In the year 316 of the First Age, Eredhal the White, sister of King Turgon, grew weary of the perfect but unchanging life in Gondolin. The restless blood of the House of Finwë stirred in her heart, and she longed for the wide skies and boundless forests of Middle-earth. After much pleading, King Turgon finally agreed to let her leave Gondolin for a time to visit their brothers in Dorthonion. However, Eredhal's journey did not go as planned. She became lost in the shadowed and enchanted forest of Nan Elmoth and was separated from her guards. As she wandered alone and lost, she encountered the master of that forest. He was a Sindarin smith of outstanding skill, but his nature was grim and strange, and he disliked the Noldor, being known as the Dark Elf. He was captivated by Eredhal's moon-like beauty and used his secret forest magic to lure her to his dwelling deep in the woods. Eredhal was enthralled by his rugged and mysterious nature, and in the end she remained and became his wife. It was a union shrouded in shadow, filled with strong passion, but also holding the seeds of tragedy. In that same year, in the encampment of men in Estelad, a child named Berdur was born, another testament to the unceasing life of men in this new land. The years flowed slowly in Beleriand, and the tribes of men took root upon the plains of Estelad. New lives were constantly born: Baranar, 317, Amlak, 337, Boromir, 338, Adnal and Belemir, 339, Bereg and Belagur, 340, Maegor, Halath and Huldar, 341, Bregalas, 359, Andrith, 361, Hader and Belil, 365, Haldan, 366. These names, like stars in the night sky, together formed the first tapestry of the heroic age of men. Their childhoods were spent amidst the legends of the elves and the clang of swords, and their destinies from the moment of their birth were tightly interwoven with the future of this land. In the dark forest of Nan Elmoth, in the year 320, Eredhal bore a son Tual. They named him Lomian, the son of twilight, but his mother called him Maeglin, the sharp eye, in secret. He inherited his father's deep perception and his mother's noble blood, but his soul seemed forever veiled by a shadow born of that dim forest. Meanwhile, the interactions between men and elves deepened. In the year 322, Malak, chieftain of the House of Malak, led the finest young men of his tribe on a long journey to Hithlum in the north, to enter the service of Fingolfin, the High King of the Noldor. Fingolfin welcomed them gladly and settled them within his own lands. For the next 14 years, these human warriors guarded the frontiers of the siege of Angband side by side with the Noldor elves. They learned more advanced skills of war and strategy from the elves, and their loyalty and courage won the sincere respect of the elves. In the year 336, Malak ended his service to Fingolfin and led his people back to Estelad. This experience greatly enhanced the status and renown of the House of Malak among men. A year later, in 337, Malak married the beautiful Zimrihin, a union that marked the establishment of a stable society and family for men in this new land. However, not all men were content with the alliance with the elves. In the human camps, a young man named Bereg, a descendant of the House of Beer, began to openly question the wisdom of remaining in this land. He argued that men had sought the light of the West only to find themselves used as pawns for the elves in their war against the Dark Enemy. He yearned for the free and untamed life of the East and constantly incited people to leave Beleriand and return to their ancestral lands. His words found resonance among those who were uncertain of the future and harbored resentment towards the elves. In the year 340, a great debate that would decide the future course of men was held by the campfires of Estelad. Bereg passionately stated his reasons for leaving, while another human leader, Maegor, a descendant of Malak, firmly refuted him. Maegor spoke of the grace of the elves and the evil of Morgoth, arguing that the fate of men was now bound to the survival of this land, and that to flee would only bring greater disaster. In the end, most of the men were persuaded by Maegor's words and chose to stay and continue the fight alongside the elves. But Bereg and 1,000 of his followers, along with a small number from other houses, finally chose to depart. They packed their belongings and journeyed east, disappearing beyond the Blue Mountains and were never heard from in Beleriand again. This was the first sundering of men, a choice between hope and despair, loyalty and doubt. During this time of change, a profound and sorrowful tale unfolded between the house of Finarfin and men. The wise sons of Finarfin, Ongrod and Aegnor, forged the deepest friendships with the men of the house of Malak. Aegnor fell in love with a mortal woman named Andrith, the niece of Boromir, who was renowned for her wisdom and beauty. Their love was true and deep, but it was barred by the unbridgeable gulf between elves and men. Aegnor was immortal, while Andrith's life was as brief as a summer flower. This love, destined to have no fulfillment, filled Aegnor's heart with pain, and he dared not make any promise to her, burying his love deep within his heart. Andrith suffered a great sorrow as well. She devoted her life to teaching her people and learning the wisdom of the elves, and she never married. Her dialogues with Finrod on the nature of men's fate and mortality, filled with philosophy and sorrow, were recorded by the wise in later days and passed down for centuries. In the year 355, Bir, the first elder of men to set foot in Beleriand, passed away peacefully in Nargothrond. His death made King Finrod truly feel for the first time the brevity and fragility of human life, and he grieved deeply for it. Bir's passing symbolized the end of the first era of men's exploration and settlement. In the years that followed, a new generation of human leaders began to emerge. The most outstanding among them was Hader, grandson of Malak. He was tall with brilliant golden hair, like a Vala among mortals. His birth in the year 365 seemed to herald the coming of a heroic age. King Fingolfin favored him greatly and eventually granted him the land of Dorlomin as a hereditary fiefdom. The House of Hader thus became the most loyal guardians of Hithlum. Likewise, in the House of Bir, Berhir and Bregand, sons of Bregalas, and in the House of Halladin, Haldan, these young heroes also grew to manhood. They did not know that during the final years of the Long Peace, the evil power in Angband to the north was swelling at an unprecedented rate. Morgoth had secretly bred vast and more ferocious armies of orcs. His dragon Glorung had reached his full might, and even more terrible creations were being shaped in his dark furnaces. The illusion of peace was about to be torn to shreds. These men who had just taken root in this land and were full of hope for the future, and these elves who enjoyed a life of ease and had almost forgotten the cruelty of war, would soon face a storm of fire and blood that would sweep across all of Beleriand. Their loyalty, love, and courage would all be put to the harshest test in the cataclysm to come, and the choice of each one would merge into the great river of doom, flowing towards an end that none could foresee.